few years ago, I was struggling with the direction I was heading in life. I had a few different opportunities at work. I was trying to decide if I was going to go back to school or not. And I was honestly just trying to figure out exactly where I belonged in this community. I was sharing this with a coworker of mine, and she told me, you know what you need to do is you need to find the person who has the marriage that you want, who has the job that you aspire to have, and don't be afraid to ask them questions. She said, don't be afraid to find a mentor. That may seem trite, but it changed my whole perspective. I approached a man in leadership and asked him several different questions. Because this man knew exactly the type of person that I was, he gave me insight and direction that I never would have thought about. He motivated me, he counseled me, and gave me insight, like I said, that was completely priceless. As adults, we should never be afraid to put our differences and our pride aside and ask from previous generations how they could help us and ask for help. This should not be exclusive to those of us that are in our 20s. People of all ages should be learning from previous generations. It's been said by many successful people that all successful people in life have had mentors to help them along the way. As important as it is to be seeking mentors, it is just as important to be a mentor to the next generation. And my parents are an incredible example of this. I'll never forget the summer after my 8th grade year. I got my report card back, and it was all C's. And I was telling my parents, I specifically remember telling them, I do not want to go to college. I hate going to class. I hate school. And I honestly just want to work for Dad for the rest of my life. See, my dad was a carpenter, and the next day he took me to work. He had a 4,000 square foot house that he was working on, and this house had 8-inch crown molding, it had an 8-inch baseboard, and a kitchen that I swear should have been mentioned in the Home and Garden magazines. He gave me a can of nail hole filler, he gave me 2 sanders, and he told me to fill and sand every single nail in that house. I spent the next 100 hours that month filling, sanding, refilling, and resanding the house. Little did I know that was my dad mentoring me. Little did I know that without ever speaking a word, he was telling me, Clayton, you are not meant to be a carpenter. You're meant to go on and do other things. You have other potential in this life. Fast forward to just a few years later, I was in college, and I always called him to complain about the test I was about to take or the paper I was about to write. And he always said, there's always coming back and filling nail holes, Clayton. And I said, no, that's all I needed, and I finished college. My parents have always loved and pushed and cared for me since the very beginning, and because of them, I was the first person in my college to go on and finish with a bachelor's degree and a graduate degree. There's something special that happens when we step into someone's life and say, I see you, I care about you, I know your potential. When my dad put that nail hole filler in my hand, he knew exactly what he was doing. He knew that I had potential. There's something special that happens when we invest in our future generations, just like my parents did for me. There's an epidemic of this country of adults not stepping into kids' lives and investing in them like my parents did for me. My parents were the best. 96,000. I want that number to sink and set with you and hurt for a second. 96,000 kids woke up this morning with one or both parents incarcerated in prison. And 70% of those kids will follow in their parents' footsteps. 70%, that's 67,000. The number one answer is mentoring. That's how we solve this problem of incarceration in our country. With just 1 year of one-to-one mentoring, there are statistics that show all of these things and how mentoring and one-to-one relationship changes all of those. Kids that have a one-to-one relationship are 55% more likely to enroll in college. They're 130% more likely to hold leadership positions. And they're 46% less likely to turn to drugs at any point in their life because they had one person that cared about them. As adults, it's our time to step into these kids' lives and show them that all children are capable of success. We, as the successful adults in this community, can step into these kids' lives and show them that they are capable of success. In conclusion, mentorship is for everyone, young and old. Us, as adults, should be seeking mentorship from those and generations that have gone before us, but we should also be investing into the generations that are to come. There's so much that can happen from one-to-one relationship. And this generation that's up and coming needs us now more than ever. It's time that we step into relationships. It's time that we become intentional with one another. It's time that we find our mentor. And it's time that we be a mentor. Thank you.